Hello friends, very good morning. So today let us start with our Unit 4 Indian Contract Act 1872. Yes, is everybody doing good? Yeah, ready for the class? All the energy is set up? Chalo, let's start with our Unit 4. What's our Unit 4? Performance of contract. Whenever you make a contract, it is understood that what is promised in the contract must be performed. Correct? Yes or no? If only there is a performance, then only it is the value of a contract. Otherwise, what is the worth of making a contract? Now, let us try to understand what is meant by performance of a contract. Okay? What is meant by performance? You only try to find out the meaning and tell me what is meant by. What's meant by performance of a contract? Yeah? What's meant by performance? Whatever is promised in the contract, fulfilling that promise is only your performance. If I make a promise that I will sell the car for 50,000, correct? Selling that car is my performance. Paying 50,000 is your performance. Understood? Whatever is promised in the contract, fulfilling that obligation is called as performance. Now see, performance means fulfillment of obligations to the contract. Clear? Okay now? Yeah? Now, according to section 37, what does section 37 says? 37 says that a party must perform or either offer to perform the respective promises unless that promise is dispensed with under the provisions of Contract Act or any other law. You should perform your promise or either you have to offer to perform your promise unless you are excused by the law. Okay? ನೀವು ಲಾ ಇಂದ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕ್ಯೂಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ ಬೇರೆ, ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆರ್ ಆಫರ್ ಟು ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್. Okay, now let us see the types of performance of the contract. What are the types? Number 1, actual. Number 2, attempted. Actual performance, what is promised is fulfilled within time and in the prescribed manner, then it is called actual performance. Okay, actual means parties have fulfilled their obligations. Yeah, what is promised they have already done. I have given my bike for 50,000. I have given the bike, you have made the payment, then it is actual performance. Now what is meant by the second one? Attempted performance. Attempted performance is also called as tender of performance, offer to perform. Okay, now what is meant by these words here? What are meant by these words? It may sometimes happen that when performance becomes due, promiser offers to perform, but promisee refuses to accept the performance. Who is refusing here? Promiser is ready to, I am ready to give my bike, but you are somehow not accepting the bike. You are trying to avoid the transaction. I am calling, please come and pick up the bike. ನೀವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ, ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, or not picking up my call. You are doing all these dramas. Yeah, you are trying to avoid this transaction. I'm ready to deliver the bike, but you're not ready to come and take it. That's called attempted performance. Promiser ready to perform, but promisee, what's promisee doing? Promisee refusing to accept the performance. That is called as attempted performance. Actual means when the parties fulfill their obligations. Second, attempted performance means promiser ready to perform, but ready and willing to perform, but promisee refusing to accept the performance. Promisee ready illa. Okay na? Example nodi quickly. Let us see the example quickly. What is the example we have? X borrows, first I'm speaking about actual. X borrows 5 lakhs from Y with a promise to be paid after 1 month. X repays the amount on the due date. This is actual performance. He promised he will do it and he did it. So it is actual. Now, A promises to deliver certain goods to B. A takes the goods to the appointed place during the business hour, but B refuses to take the delivery of the goods. This is attempted because promiser did what he promised to, but promise he did not come there. Are you clear? So what have we studied? What have we studied? First one, we studied what is performance. What is performance we have studied? Performance means fulfillment of obligations under the contract. fulfillment of obligations. This is according to section 37. Obligations under the contract. Yeah, correct? According to section 37. Now, there are two types of performance. Performance can be categorized into two types. What are those two types? Yes, it is number one, actual performance. Number two, attempted performance. Now, what is meant by actual? Actual means parties fulfill their obligation. Here, promiser ready to perform. But what happens? Promisee refuses. Okay, this is about actual and attempted. Got it? Now, next, moving to the next topic, conditions to be satisfied for a attempted performance. See, now here, try to understand what we are learning. We are learning for attempted performance, what all points they should have followed. Then only it will be called as attempted performance, not otherwise. Okay. See, first one, it must be unconditional. Promiser, here what we said, promiser is ready to perform, correct? What we are telling? Promiser is ready to perform, correct? But promiser should have performed ready to performance ಅವ್ನು ಅನ್ಕಂಡೀಷನಲ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಹಾಕಿ ನಾನು ಬೈಕ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಬಟ್ ನೀನ್ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಬರಬೇಕು ಆರ್ any conditions he should not have put. He should have done it unconditionally. Okay na? So without any conditions he should have offered to perform. ಅವನೇನಾದ್ರೂ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ನೀನ್ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಬರ್ಬೇಕು ಇವರಿಗೆ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ಬರ್ಬೇಕು और वॉट एवर इसके साथ ही आना पड़ेगा नहीं तो नहीं देंगे, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते. समझ में आया? ठीक है, तो उसको क्या करना है, बिना कोई कंडीशन के वो परफॉर्मेंस करना है. ओके, सो फर्स्ट वन, सी A offers to B repay only the principal amount. This is not valid tender since the whole amount of principal and interest is not offered. Promiser must pay both principal and interest amount when he has taken the loan. But when he says I will only give the principal amount and not give the interest amount, then why should promisee accept? He should not. Correct? Are you clear? So what is the first point? Promiser must offer to perform unconditionally. Second one, it must be made at proper time and proper place. ಈಗ ನಾನು ಬೈಕ್ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ರೆಡಿ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಐ ಆಮ್ ರೆಡಿ ಟು ಗಿವ್ ದ ಬೈಕ್, ಬಟ್ ಇಫ್ ಐ ಟೆಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಎಟ್ ನೈಟ್ 12 o'clock only, then I will give you, and come to the which place shall we call him? Come to this particular haunted place and only then there I will give you the bike. Then is it a proper way of offering to perform? No. So it must be done in usual business hours and at the business place only. Okay. So proper time, proper place is necessary. Reasonable opportunity to examine the goods. So whatever, if I'm delivering the bike, I should give the promisee a reasonable opportunity to examine. Ad nodlik kodbeku. Bike hengide yenide. Okay. See here, A contracts to deliver B at his warehouse 1000 kgs of wheat on a certain date. A must bring wheat to the B's warehouse on the appointed date. Under such circumstances, that B may have reasonable opportunity of satisfying himself that the thing offered is the wheat of the quality contracted and there are 1000 kgs. So B should satisfy whatever product he is purchasing or buying. He should be satisfied that he is buying he should be able to examine that so that he is satisfied about the product he is buying. Are you clear? Fourth one, it must be the whole obligation. Whole obligation means whatever is promised. If I have promised that I will give you 100 goods, 100 units, then I should give you 100. If I just tell I'll give you 50 means I promised for 100 units to be delivered, then I should deliver 100 and not 50. If I do so, then I am not fulfilling my whole obligation. I'm just fulfilling a part. So promisee may refuse it. Are you clear? So what are the 4 conditions we have studied here for the attempted performance? Yeah. Let me choose a color. Yeah. So here First condition is it must be unconditional. Let me just erase this one. Promiser ready. Promisee refuses. Point number 1, it must be unconditional performance. Second one, what is the second one? Quickly. Proper time and place. Next one, examine the goods. Correct? Last one, whole obligation. Must fulfill whole obligation. Only if these 4 conditions are fulfilled, only then it will be regarded as attempted performance, not otherwise. Are you clear? Okay, these are the 4 conditions. Please remember these 4 conditions. Okay, chalo. Moving on to our next topic, that is, okay, there is an example. Let us go through the example first, because I have already said going through the examples is very, very, very important. X enters into a contract with Y, the manager of theatre, to sing at his theatres 2 nights in every week during the next 2 months. And Y engaged to pay her 10,000 for each night's performance. So since what they have done, 2 months, for the next 2 months he'll sing twice in a week. But see, on the 6th night, he willfully absents himself from the theatre. He should sing for 2 months. On the 6th night only, he is not coming. So why is at liberty to put an end to the contract? He is not offering the to perform fully, Allah. He said 2 months. Just after 6 nights, he is not coming. So he did half. He is not performing in full. So what can the other party do? Other party can cancel the contract. Are you clear? Next. By whom a contract must be performed. Now you only tell who must perform the contract. Very simple. Who must perform the contract? Who should perform? Who should perform? Not major. Who should perform? Major to true, but I am not speaking right now about major. Tell me who. Think. ಯಾರು ಪ್ರಾಮಿಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರೇ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್? So who should perform? One who has promised in the contract. Correct? So who is it called as? Promiser himself. Correct or no? Yeah. So if I promise you to deliver, see, promiser himself. Who should perform? Promiser himself. If I tell that, here again we will have 2 things. When I say that I will deliver the bike for 50,000, so I should perform my own promise. Correct? Now, suppose I said that I accepted a contract telling that I will teach accounts for you. Okay? Okay? Now, if I made a contract that I will personally come and teach accounts to you. Now, can I send other person on my behalf to teach the accounts when I myself made a contract? Who should perform this? I only should perform. Correct? Can I send somebody else in my place? Can I? The promisee, will he accept somebody else's performance when he has made a contract with me? नन जोते मेरे साथ contract करने के बाद जब मैं मेरे लिए specifically they have asked for, I agreed to that specific contract. Now, can I send somebody else in my place to teach the subject? Will the other party accept that performance? In this particular case, it should be performed by promiser himself. Correct? Only I should perform. Suppose now, come to the example when I asked to deliver the bike for 50,000. Now, that bike naane kodbeka? Enadru condition idena? I can send somebody else. Please hogi kotba. Can I send somebody else or no? Yes, I can. So here, contracts must be performed by promiser himself when the contract involves personal skill and diligence. 2 things. Personal skill ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಬೇಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಲೈಕ್ ಟೀಚಿಂಗ್, ಪೇಂಟಿಂಗ್, ಅವರೇ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ವಿ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಸಂಬಡಿ ಎಲ್ಸ್. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್? ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಸ್ಕಿಲ್ ಆರ್ ಡಿಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ಪ್ರಾಮಿಸರ್ ಹಿಮ್ಸೆಲ್ಫ್. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್? ಇಫ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ಟು ದ ಪ್ರಾಮಿಸರ್, if something happens to the promiser, if suppose you have asked for painting a picture, if the painter dies or if the painter loses his hands in an accident, now can he paint? No. Correct? Now he cannot paint, so that contract will be void. ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸಲ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಆಟೋಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್? ಸೊ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಲಿಸನ್ ಟು ಮೀ ಹಿಯರ್. Contract must be performed by promiser himself. If in the contract it is clearly mentioned that I only should deliver the bike, then I only will deliver. But if there is no such rule, then it can be done by the others also. But if the contracts involve personal skill or diligence, then it must be performed by promiser himself. Are you clear? Personal skill, diligence ittu promisere. If contract nalli specifically said contract has an intention to be performed by promiser only, then it must be performed by promiser himself. These are the two cases where contract must be performed by promiser only. Are you clear? Okay. Number 2. Now, it can be performed by whom? In the second case, it can be performed by agent. Who is an agent? Suppose I don't give and deliver the bike, but I ask somebody on my behalf to deliver the bike. He is my agent, he is working for me. Okay, so can I ask? Yes. When personal skill and diligence is not involved, contracts can be performed by through our agents also. Okay, when personal consideration is not the foundation, then promiser can appoint a competent person to perform it. When here personal skill must not be involved. Are you clear? Okay, now agent ಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು? Only when the personal skill is not involved, not based on personal skills. Number 3, legal representatives. Legal representatives means, suppose when a painter is asked to paint a picture, yeah, when painter is asked to paint a picture, and if that painter dies, can his son paint a picture for me? Now suppose he is a lawyer, now will he come and paint for you? Can he paint for you? If he is a bad painter, will you accept his performance? Not possible only. Now it cannot be passed on to somebody else. Your skill is with you only. Correct? So if again personal skill ittu, it will come to an end on the death of promiser himself. The contract comes to an end as soon as the promiser dies. Contract allige mugiyutte. Personal skill ittu andre enagutte, contract becomes void. Contract comes to an end as soon as the promiser dies. But if it is not based on the personal skill, suppose come to the same example, delivering the bike for 50,000. Now, if that person dies, if I die, then will my legal representatives can deliver the bike and can you give 50,000 to them? Will the contract be still valid? Yes. Yes. You are bound to give the bike and you are bound to make the payment. Are you clear? So legal representatives of the deceased are bound to perform unless a contrary intention appears in the contract. Now, there are 2 to 3 things. Please try to understand here. In the case of legal representatives. Legal representatives, first, if personal skill mele ittu, so contract comes to an end there itself. If personal skill mele ittu, legal representatives ge transfer agalla, the contract will come to an end. But if does not involve personal skill, then contracts, legal representatives are bound by the contract and they have to perform it. Okay. Next, yes, something. They are bound by the contract. Next, third point, if contract nalli clearly said that naan idre matra I will do the contract. If I die, then contract is in end. It will not pass to the legal representatives. Then it will not pass. Are you clear? Unless a contrary intention antandre enu, ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಮಿಸರ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನಾನು ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರನೇ ಅದು ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡ್. ಇಫ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ನಾಟ್ ದೇರ್ ದೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡ್. ದ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಟು ಅನ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಟು ಅನ್ ಎಂಡ್. ಓಕೆ, ನಾವು ಫೋರ್ತ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್. ನಾವು ಸಪೋಸ್ ನಾನು ಬೈಕ್ ಅಂತರೂ suppose you have to pay suppose 10,000 to me. Okay, suppose I have to pay 10,000. Suppose I have to pay how much? I have to pay 10,000 to somebody. Now suppose I die. Now my legal representatives, they have to make the payment to you because they are bound to make the payments. Now they will bound to make the payment. ಅವ್ರೀಗ ಅವ್ರ ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ? their liability will be limited. Their liability will be limited to the property inherited by them. ನನ್ನ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಹೋಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಕ್ಕೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅವ್ನ ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್. ಇಫ್ ಸಪೋಸ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಪಾಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ a property of value of just 5,000 to my legal representatives, then they will be liable only to the amount of 5,000 and not 10,000. Clear? So our liability ಏನಾಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ? ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. Clear? So liability will be limited to the property inherited by them. Are you clear? So first, let me quickly revise. Promisor himself will perform if it involves personal skill, or when in the contract it is clearly mentioned that it must be performed by promisor himself. Second, when the contracts are not based on personal skill, it can be performed by an agent also. Legal representatives are bound to perform the contract if it does not involve personal skill. If an contrary intention appears in the contract, then they need not perform. Contrary intention ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಪ್ರಾಮಿಸರ್ ದಟ್ ನಾನು ಇದ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ. if I die then the contract is over means contract is over. Legal representatives are not bound. Next ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರ ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಎಷ್ಟಕ್ಕಿರುತ್ತೆ? only to the value of property inherited by them. Clear? Shall I move on to the next one? Okay, now but before I move on, quickly answer me the questions. Okay, now you have to give me the answers very quickly. A promises B to pay 1 lakh on delivery of certain goods. How much? 1 lakh. Okay, now A may perform this promise either himself or causing someone else to pay the money to B. Correct? avun taane madಬಹುದು or he can ask somebody else to do. Now suppose if A dies, what is happening? A promises B to pay 1 lakh on delivery of certain goods. Now if A dies before the time appointed for payment time ಏನਿತ್ತು ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ, if he dies, his legal representatives must pay the money or should not pay the money? Answer this. Before he could make the payment, he died. Now his legal representatives should make the payment or should not make the payment? They should. Okay, according to our, they should. If B dies before the appointed time for delivery, B's representative shall be bound to deliver the goods to A. If B died ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ B's legal representatives must deliver the goods and A is bound to pay the rupees 1 lakh to B's representatives. A ಆದ್ರೂ ಡೈ ಆಗಲಿ, B ಆದ್ರೂ ಡೈ ಆಗಲಿ, ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಡೆತ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರ legal representatives must perform the contract if it is not based on personal skill. Okay, now ಅದೇ ಪೇಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಇತ್ತಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಪೇಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್, right, very good. If painting of picture ittu antandre, suppose here A promises to paint a picture for B. Now A is bound to perform. He cannot ask some other painter to paint the picture on his behalf. Correct? If A dies, then the contract cannot be enforced either by A's representatives or B. Contract will become what? Next one, third persons. Idinna illige mugdilla. So we have fourth one. Who should perform? Third persons. Ma'am, why should a third person perform the contract? Tell me. It is understood that promisor will perform, or agent or legal representatives. Now why third person? Why third person? Suppose now what has happened is effect of so we are studying effect of accepting performance from third person. Now suppose what I'm studying here, effect of accepting the promise from the third person. Suppose now come to the example. Now I have to receive rupees 1 lakh. Now sir, you have to give me 1 lakh rupees. Okay na? Okay. Now that 1 lakh ನನಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಏನು ಬರೋದಿದೆ. Suppose what's your name? Suppose Bhanu has to give me 1 lakh rupees. Correct? Now what your friend, what's your friend's name? Yeah, okay. Pavni. So Pavni, you have to pay me 1 lakh, but instead what you didn't ask Pavni to make the payment, but Pavni taanage, ma'am, idu Bhanudu amount I am giving it to you. What did Pavni tell? 60,000 she paid on Bhanu's behalf. Are you clear? Did you understand what I'm trying to tell? I should receive 1 lakh from Bhanu, but Pavni made the payment on her behalf to me up to the amount 60,000. Okay. Now 60,000 I have taken, kept in my pockets. Now, can I ask Bhanu for how much amount? I can ask Bhanu for 1 lakh or just 40,000 for the remaining. 40? Correct? But no, why did she give? No, you have to give me 1 lakh. I didn't ask her, Bhavni, for the payment. You are the promiser. You have to make the payment to me. So here, what happens? Can I recover total 1 lakh from you or just 40? Yes, I can recover only 40,000. Why? Because I have accepted the performance from the third party. Correct? When I accept the performance from the third party, then I can ask only for the remaining amount. Are you clear? So even though ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾನು ಪಾವ್ನಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದು ಹೇಳಿರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ, she would have asked or not asked, that does not matter. Okay, clear? See, please, so if the promisee accepts the performance from a third party stranger, then he cannot afterwards enforce it against the promiser. This results in discharging the promiser, although the latter has neither asked, authorized or ratified the act of third party. So that's why I said ಈ ಭಾನು ಅವಳಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದು ಹೇಳಿರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ, ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾಳೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದು ಹೇಳಿರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ, that does not matter. Please remember this. Okay, you would have never authorized her, you would have never ratified her act, but still it is valid. The promiser is discharged to that particular extent. Discharge andre on liability mugiyutte to that particular extent. Okay, so A received certain goods from B promising, please listen to the example and answer the question. A received certain goods from B promising to pay 1 lakh. Later on A expressed his inability to make the payment. Okay, ಈಗ 1 lakh ಕೊಡೋದೈತೆ, 1 lakh ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ಬಂದ್ರು? ಥರ್ಡ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ. ಸಿ makes the payment to A up to 60,000 on B's behalf. Correct? To B on behalf of A. A behalf nalli B bandu 60,000 C pay madidare. However, A was not aware of the payment. A ga adr bagge gotte illa. But B is now intending to sue the A for the amount of 1 lakh. Now can B sue A for 1 lakh rupees? No. Therefore, he can only ask for the balance amount, that is 40,000, and not for the whole amount. Even though ಅವನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೂ, you can only ask for the balance and not full amount. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನೀವು ಕೋರ್ಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹಂಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತೇ ಇಲ್ಲ that he has done. No, that's not an excuse. You have accepted the performance from third party, then it is over. Clear? So last one, joint promisers. So if there is a joint promise, what is meant by joint promise? Joint promiser means suppose A, B, C, D together promises to deliver the bike to E for 5 lakh rupees. Now, who should perform? ಯಾರು ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? ಎ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ, ಬಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ, ಸಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ, ಡಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ? ಇವ್ರು 4 ಜನ ಸೇರಿ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ? We will deliver the car to you for E. Who should perform? All together. Okay? When 2 or more persons have made a joint promise, unless a contrary intention appears, all persons must jointly fulfill the promise. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಸೇರಿನೇ jointly fulfill ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, unless anything else is said in the contract. If anything else is said in the contract, according to the contract. If nothing is said, then everybody should together perform the promise. If suppose somebody dies, if suppose A dies, then who should perform? If A dies, then who should perform? No, ಬರೇ BCD ನಾ? No, BCD ಮಾಡೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Plus who should perform? A's legal representatives. Are you clear? If A dies, then B, C, D plus A's legal representatives should together fulfill the promise unless a contrary intention appears. Okay? If A dies, B dies, then A's legal representatives, B's legal representatives with C and D. If A, B, C, D, all four of them died, then all the four legal representatives must fulfill the promise. Okay? Clear? Contract mugiyalla, but legal representatives must jointly fulfill the promise. Okay? Now come to the next topic. Are we clear? Who should perform? Quickly have a glance at it. Number 1, the contracts must be performed by promisor himself. Number 2, by the agents. Third, legal representatives. Fourth, third persons. Fifth, joint promises. Okay? Now we are going to the next topic. What is the difference between succession and assignment? It's very, very easy. What's meant by succession? See, succession, assignment. What happens in succession is, you would have heard, right? He is the successor of this dynasty. The kingdom was success. He was the successor. He was the successor. Correct? What's meant by that? So after he passes away, he takes over the kingdom. Correct? So in succession, what happens? Suppose if there is a father and the son, if father dies, then the whole of the properties are transferred to the son. Correct or not? Yes, that's called succession. Here what will happen? What will happen? Not only the property, but also the liability also gets transferred to the successors. Are you clear? If it's a case of father and the son, property ಎಲ್ಲ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬಾಕಿ ಇದೆ, ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಕೊಡೋದು ಬಾಕಿ ಇದೆ, also gets transferred. Are you clear? In succession, what happens? All the assets and the liabilities gets transferred to the successors. Now, but their liability will be limited. Liability will be limited to the extent of property inherited by them. Property ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ 10,000, liability ಇದೆ 1 lakh. Then their property ಎಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಅವ್ರ liability ಅಷ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ limited ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Okay, clear? So this is usually by inheritance. Both the burden and benefits are transferred. See here what happens? Both the burden and the benefits attaching to the contract may devolve on the legal heir. Legal heir means burden kuda hogutte, benefits kuda hogutte. Now, quickly, yeah, chalo. Assignment. What is meant by assignment? Here only benefits are transferred, not the liabilities. Whenever we hear the word assignment, assignment nalli just benefits are transferred and not the burden. Burden pass agalla, bare en pass agutte, only the benefits are passed out of the contract. Okay, are you clear? So that's the difference between assignment and succession. Are you clear? So let's go with the next topic, that is liability of joint promisor and promisee. Again, very, very interesting and easy one, but still questions come in the examination. It's a very, very easy one. You should be just able to very quick. Okay, you should be able to recall the provisions and write it. These are very, very easy. First one, section 42. Please listen to the section 42 first. Devolution of joint liabilities. Very, very simple. As I said already in the previous case, what happens when there is a joint promisor, A, B, C, D, jointly promised, correct? So if somebody dies, then who should do? Legal representatives with the remaining parties, correct? So the liability gets automatically transferred. If all of them dies, then all the legal representatives must perform the promise. That's only said in the section 42. See, ordinarily, if two or more persons have made a joint promise, ordinarily all of them during their lifetime must fulfill that promise. But if anybody dies, then their legal representatives jointly with the survivors must perform the promise. After the death of last survivor, the legal representatives of all the original co-promisers must fulfill the promise. That's only section 42. Are you clear? If original promisers dies, then legal representatives must fulfill the promise. That's what is said here. Example, Nodi, XYZ jointly promised, borrowed the money during their lifetime, jointly should repay. But upon the death of X, say S is the representative of X, then S along with YZ must jointly pay. If all of them dies in the accident, then all the representatives together must fulfill and repay the amount. Okay, unless a contrary intention appears in the contract. That's very important. If contract ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನೇ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು, it will not pass to my legal representatives ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ pass ಆಗಲ್ಲ. Clear? Okay, that's what is said by contrary intention appears in the contract. Okay, now Ega, in the above example, we said that A, B, C, D should deliver the car to E. Now who should perform? Ellaru seri onde car drive ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತೂ ಬರಲ್ಲ. Who should perform? Any one of the joint promisor can perform. Okay, suppose ಇವನಿಗೆ ಏನಾದರೂ expense ಆಯಿತು to deliver or anything. Suppose he made an expense of 10,000. So he will pay from his own pocket, no problem. But he has all the rights to recover this amount from all the other joint promisors. Okay. So what? Okay, let me first check what I'm telling. Okay, sorry, not this one. This is not the one we are discussing. This is the next section. Section 43A is not this one. Section 43 ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ A, B, C, D. Suppose E4 joint promisor must pay 5 lakhs to E. Okay. Now E A ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, B ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, C ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. E ಬರೇ D ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ to make the payment. Can he do so? Yes, he can. If there is no contrary intention in the contract, if nothing is mentioned, E, the promisee, can compel, can force any one of the promisor to perform the contract. ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಒಬ್ರಿಗೆ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು to perform. ನೀನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡಪ್ಪ, ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಯಾರ ಕಡೆನೂ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ, I just want it from you, you just make the payment. Clear? So he can compel, he can force any one of the joint promisors to perform the contract. Okay, if suppose full 5 lakhs paid by D, ABC Majja, no payment only, he recovered full amount from D. Now D what should do? D is crying because he lost 5 lakhs alone. All of them together made the promise to pay 5 lakhs. Now D is alone made the payment. What should D do? D will not have any rights. D will have the rights. What? E can force any one of the promisor to make the full payment. So E forced D to make the payment. That is section 43. Okay. What is section 43? Any one of the joint promisors can be forced to perform. Compelled means forced. But now what can D do? But D gain ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. D will ask for the contribution. What will D do? D will ask for the contribution from A, B and C. Andre if suppose he has paid 5 lakhs, so divide all amongst 4 equally. So 5 lakhs divided by 4 means how much one has to pay? 1.25 lakhs, huh? Everybody, correct? So everybody should equally make the contribution of 1.25 lakhs. Are you clear? So each promisor may compel contribution. So he will call for contribution from the others. Now, very, very important, please try to understand here. Suppose in ಈಗೆಲ್ಲರೂ 1.25 lakhs ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾ? 1.25 lakhs by him, 1.25 lakhs, 1.25 lakhs, 1.25 lakhs. Correct? ಎಲ್ಲರದು ಸೇರಿ 5 lakhs ಆಯ್ತಾ? Now suppose what happens? Aಗೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? Suppose he is becoming insolvent. He is not able to pay the debts. Or he is at fault, not able to pay the debts. Now what should he do? ಇವನ್ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇವ್ರು ಬರೇ 1.25 lakhs, 1.525 lakhs ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಆಗುತ್ತಾ? He will be bearing 2.5 lakhs burden ಅಲ್ಲ? If this happens, then what should we do? He will also bear just 1.25. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇವನ್ 1.25 ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, his loss must be borne by the other 3 equally. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಮೂವರು ಸೇರಿ 1.25 ಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು. If suppose he dies and he can call for a contribution, if at all legal representatives not insolvency enadru aitu, he is there, he is not died, he is not dying. I'm not telling he dies. That's why legal representatives matter barta illa. Okay na, your question is correct, but what is happening? I'm telling he is not dying, but he is becoming insolvent. Insolvent means he is not able to pay the debts. If he does not pass any property to legal representatives, then legal representatives also cannot make the payment. They are not bound because ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಏನು ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿನೇ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ they will not make the payment. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? ಇನ್ಸಾಲ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. Now if A becomes insolvent, then what should happen? This 1.25 lakhs ಏನಿದೆ must be borne by these 3 persons equally. Okay na? So 1.25 lakhs divided by 3 ಮಾಡಿ. It is nothing but equivalent to 5 lakhs divided by 3. 5 lakhs divided by 3 is how much? So each of them should pay 1,66,000 something. Okay now? Okay? This is the liability. A question comes for this calculation. You have to do the calculation. Are you clear? Okay? It's easy barutte angenu barala. Okay? See, if any of the joint promisor makes default in contribution, default antandre is not able to make the contribution, avaga remaining joint promisor must bear the loss arising from the default in equal shares. On loss ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು equally ಎಲ್ಲರೂ divide ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. Are you clear? This is section 43. Please understand this section. The liability in the event of a joint contract is joint and several. Everybody should divide the amount equally amongst them. Okay, are you clear with the section or any doubt? No doubts? See, now we have an explanation. What is the explanation? We have nothing in the section prevent a surety from recovering from this principal payments made by the surety on behalf of principal or entitle the principal to recover anything from the surety in account of payment made by the principal. We'll see about payment all this principal and surety in the unit 8, I guess so. Okay, now let's quickly go through the example, answer the questions quickly. Think of it as an exam and tell the answers quickly. A, B, C jointly promises to pay D 3 lakhs. Now, D can ask from whom to make the payment? A kelbeka, B kelbeka, C kelbeko, or he can ask just one person to make the payment. He can ask any of the persons to make the payment, either A, either B or C to make the payment of 3 lakhs. Okay, that's what is said in section 43. He can compel any one of the promisor to make the full payment. Next, if A, B, C are under a joint promise to pay 3 lakhs, C is unable to pay anything to A. C ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ನನಗೆ ಏನು ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. Now, if C is unable to pay anything, A is compelled to pay the whole. Now A and B totally ibru ಎಷ್ಟು ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? 1.5 lakhs, 1.5 lakhs. Correct? Now again quickly the next example, XYZ jointly promised to pay 6,000 to A. Okay, ಮೂವರು ಸೇರಿ 6,000 ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಬ್ರೊಬ್ರದ್ದು ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು? 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. Now A can compel either X, Y or Z to pay the amount. If Z is compelled to pay the whole amount and X becomes insolvent, then his assets are sufficient to pay 1/2 of his debts. ಅವನಿಗೆ ಅವನದು ತನ್ನ ಡೆಟ್ಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ಅದ್ರದ್ದು 1/2 ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಪೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಂತ. ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಪೋಸ್ ಟು ಪೇ 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. ಹಾಫ್ ಅವ್ನ್ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಂದ್ರೆ he can pay how much? He can pay 1,000 rupees. Please try to understand here. Look at the example. What we are trying to tell? We are trying to tell that X, Y, Z have to make the payment of 6,000. Okay, so everybody's liabilities becomes how much? 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. Correct? Now suppose if X becomes insolvent and he is able to pay only 1/2 of his debts, andre he is not completely 2,000 pay ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅವನು ಎಷ್ಟು ಪೇ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ರೆಡಿ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ? 1,000. Suppose he pays 1,000 rupees. Now ಇವರಿಬ್ರು ಎಷ್ಟೆಷ್ಟು ಪೇ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? 500, 500. So it will be 2,500 and 2,500 each. Okay, are you clear? So this is the answer. That's section 43. Are you clear? You should be able to write that. If anyone fails the contribution, then the rest of the promisees can call for the contribution from the remaining parties in equal contribution. Okay. Now, effect of release of one of the joint promises, section 44. Now, understand this. A, B, C, D has to make the payment to E for rupees 5 lakhs. E, what is E telling? E is telling D, ನೀನ್ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಓಕೆ, A, B, C ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು ನನಗೆ. He is releasing one of the joint promises from the liability. E ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ? E is releasing one of the joint promises from the liability. D ಗೆ ಅವನು ಏನು ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. A, B, C ನನ್ 5 lakh ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು. Okay, what is this person doing? He is releasing one of the joint promises from the liabilities. It does not mean he is asking for the less amount. He is asking for the full amount, 5 lakhs only. But he is telling D need not make the payment, A, B, C must make the payment. So he is releasing his liability. Can he do so? Yes, he can. But these 3 persons, they will not keep quiet. ಅವನ್ ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಏನಾಯ್ತು? ನಾವು ಬಿಡಲ್ಲ, ನಮಗ್ ಕೊಡು. We will make the full payment to him, but you give your contribution to us. Clear? So the joint promises will not leave him. They will ask him to make that payment. Are you clear? See, whether 2 or more persons have made a joint promise, the release of one joint promisor by the promisee does not discharge the other joint promisor or joint promisors. ಒಬ್ರಿಗೆ ಬಿಟ್ರೆ A, B, C are still bound ಅಂತ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವನ್ D ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ, if he releases one of the joint promisor, the other rest A, B, C are still bound to make the payment. Are you clear? If he releases D, the rest of the joint promisors are still bound to make the payment. That is said in section 44. But neither does it free the joint promisor so released from the responsibility to the other joint promisor or promisors. Now, D is bound to make the payment to whom? A, B and C. ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಇವನಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಡ, ನಮಗ್ ಕೊಡು. Only that changes. Okay. See quickly the example. A, B, C jointly promised to pay 9 lakhs to D. ಈಗ D released A from the liability. D ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ? A को क्या बोल रहा है कि A तुम पेमेंट मत करो. But in this case, the release of A does not discharge B and C from the liability. If A is released, it does not mean B, C are released. B, C must make the payment, but they remain liable to make entire payment to D. Full payment ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, 9 lakhs full ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Although A is not liable to pay to D, but he remains liable to pay to B and C. Okay, so A, D ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಯ್ತು? He should make the payment to whom? B and C. Are you clear? So last one, now moving on to the section 45, that is rights of joint promises. So same way what we have studied for the promises, the same way is applicable for the promises as well. If suppose only one party, or here also there are too many parties, so same what all the rules are applicable for the promises, the same rules are applicable for the promises. They have to also perform. If he dies, then together with the legal representatives, they have to receive the benefits. Okay. So if one person receives the benefit, he should share the benefits with the other two. Okay. So whatever rules are applicable for the promises are applicable same with the promises as said in the section 45. If somebody dies, then together with their legal representatives, they have to. Benefit bantu andre they have to share with their legal representatives. Okay. So that's it about section 45. Now, quickly an example. A, in consideration of 5 lakh rupees lent to him by B and C, promises B and C jointly to repay them with sum of interest on a specified date, but B dies. Now, in such a case, right to demand shall rest with B's legal representatives jointly with C. If B dies, then B's representatives and C. If C also dies, then during C's lifetime, after the death of C, with the legal representatives of B and C jointly. The same rules what are discussed for promises are applicable for the promises as well. Okay, sure. Are you clear with the rules of joint promises, section 43, 44 and 45? Clear? Shall I move on to the next one? Okay. So last topic for today, time and place for the performance of the promise, section 46 to section 50. Time and place for performance of the. Okay, shall I? Listen, very, very easy. See, when first case, there are 4 different cases. So listen to the first case. We are speaking about time. What time they should perform. Performance ಯಾವಾಗ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಯಾವ ಟೈಮಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಯಾವ ಟೈಮಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, where no application is to be made and no time is specified. Then in that case, application ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Application here means what? Promise he must tell, no, ಈ ಟೈಮಿಗೆ ನನಗೆ ಡೆಲಿವರಿ ಬೇಕು. Correct? If he does not make that application and no time is fixed in the contract, then promisor must deliver the goods at what time? That's the question. Are you clear? Question? So what's the question? If no time is mentioned in the contract and buyer is also not informing you, that is, he's not even making the application for the time, then what should be the time for the performance of promise? If it is without application and no time is specified, then it must be performed within a reasonable time. ಯಾವ ಟೈಮಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? ವಿದಿನ್ ರೀಸನಬಲ್ ಟೈಮ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಆರ್ ಯು ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್? ಈಗ ರೀಸನಬಲ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಇಟ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಟು ಕೇಸ್. ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಪೆರಿಷಬಲ್ ಗೂಡ್ಸ್, ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಡೂ ಇಟ್ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ವಿಕ್. ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಟೈಮ್, like non-perishable goods, unperishable goods, then it can go for a longer time also. Yeah, it depends on case to case what business is going on. Are you clear? So within what time they should perform? They should perform within reasonable time. If no time is specified in the contract and there is no application made. Are you clear? Next one. Next we are speaking about time and place for performance. Time as well as place. Which place? Correct? Now, where time is specified and no application to be made. ಟೈಮ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫೈ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಡೇಗೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸಪೋಸ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಡೆಲಿವರ್ ದ ಗೂಡ್ಸ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, 4 o'clock 5 o'clock. ನೋ, ದಟ್ ನಾಟ್ ದಟ್ ಟೈಮ್. ವಿ ಆರ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಡೇ. 1 week ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ, 1 week ಟೈಮ್, 2 days ಟೈಮ್, 3 days ಟೈಮ್, 1 month ಟೈಮ್, ದಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್. ಓಕೆ, now where the time is specified, that it's certain day, you have to deliver the goods on 10th of August. Okay, the date is fixed. Now where promise is to perform on a certain day, and but here again contract nalli ide, adike I will not specifically call and tell on which day. Okay, no application will be made. Without application only you have to perform. ನಾನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ 10th August ಬಂದಿದೆ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಡೆಲಿವರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ, but a date is already fixed, so now there will be no application. Then promiser must perform at what time? During the usual business hour on such day. ಆ ಡೇಟಿಗೆ usual business hours ನಲ್ಲಿ he should perform the performance. Very easy. Yeah. And place at which the promise ought to be performed. ಯಾವ place fix ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಆ place they have to. See, if the delivery of goods is offered say after 8:30 p.m. in the night, then promisee must accept a no, he can refuse the delivery because usual business hours are over. They have to deliver in business hours only. If business hours are over, then he can skip, refuse for the delivery. But ತಗೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ ನಾಳೆ ಬಂದು ಕೊಡಿ. Okay, so the delivery must be made at the usual place of business and in the usual business hours. Are we clear? Okay, moving on to the third point, application for performance. Application for the performance. Yeah, let's go. Application for performance on a certain day to be at proper time and place. Application ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರು ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ಲಿ ಮುಂದೆಯಿಂದ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ನನಗೆ ಈ ಟೈಮಿಗೆ ಕೊಡಿ, ಈ ಪ್ಲೇಸಿಗೆ ಕೊಡಿ. The buyer will call and tell you. So that's called he is making an, not only call, he can ask by any means, giving a letter or telling it in any form, he will try to tell you. Okay, so when a promise is to be performed on a certain day, the promisee has not undertaken to perform it without application. It is the duty. Clearly promiser has said, nim call baratana now delivery madala, we are waiting for your application ಅಂದಾಗ ಯಾವಾಗ ಡೆಲಿವರಿ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು? It is the duty of promisee to apply for the performance at a proper place and within usual hours of business. So when should he deliver? After the application is made, and that application should contain a proper place and usual business hours. Are you clear? Next, fourth case, section 49. Place for the performance where no application to be made, no place fixed. We are only speaking about place here. Application ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ, place ಕೂಡ fix ಇಲ್ಲ. Then where performance without application, no place fixed, it is duty of promiser to apply the promisee to appoint a reasonable place. ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು? ಪ್ರಾಮಿಸರ್ ತಾವಾಗಿ ಪ್ರಾಮಿಸಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು, ಒಂದ್ ಜಾಗ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾವು ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಡೆಲಿವರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, so we will deliver the goods. Are you clear? So promiser must apply to the promisee to appoint a reasonable place. Okay, see, A undertakes to deliver 1,000 mounds of jute to be on a fixed day. A must apply to be appoint a reasonable place for the purpose of receiving it and must deliver it to him at such place. Okay, avanu yav place ige heltare, then you should deliver those goods at that particular place. Now last one, performance in the manner or time prescribed or sanctioned by the promisee, section 50. So in which manner it should be performed? The performance of any promise may be made in any such manner or at any time which the promisee prescribes or sanctions. So promisee ಹೆಂಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, first ಇದು ಕೊಡಿ, next ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇದು ಕೊಡಿ. So accordingly he has to deliver in the same manner, he has to deliver the goods according to the promises prescription and sanctions. Are you clear? Manner ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, order ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, according to the promises desires and sanctions. Are you clear? So this is about section 46 to 50. Time, place, when application made, when application not made, and the manner of performance. Are you clear? Okay. So I think we'll keep today's class till here and we will continue tomorrow. Okay. Chalo. See you. Thank you so much.